Okay, you can tell me y'all's names.
I'm Dawn Smith.
Butch Smith.
Okay, and how long ago did y'all meet?
About 26 years ago then, huh? Right?
Yeah. Somewhere along
And how did y'all meet?
that work.
Worked at Pine Grove together for Forest General Hospital.
What made y'all initially want to pursue one another?
His dad says because he liked Shannon. She was little and cute.
No, because I was attracted to her. She was nice.
Because I was nice.
And attractive.
Okay, well, what about you?
Yeah, he was very clean cut and nice
Clean
guy.
cut. I was clean cut.
Cute, nice guy, I guess.
She didn't say I was hot.
Yeah, very. But back then we didn't call it hot. We called it cool and
Didn't call it cool.
what did we call it back then? Not hot. That's something new.
Okay, what are your views on marriage?
Oh, you have to work hard at it. And you have to be giving. You have to give in. You have to learn to accept things that you don't want to. You have to show a lot of love.
And
Be very dedicated, long-suffering.
I believe you have to be very forgiving because that's one thing we've had to.
Yeah, because I have to forgive her a lot. She does what I, against my view, my opinion, my direction.
Right.
Well, how do you feel about marriage? About your marriage? Or it can be in general.
What now?
How do you feel about
our
marriage?
marriage?
I like the fact that, the kids have, I feel like it's a stable place for them to come to and be able to receive support and guidance and direction and love and this kind of thing. What do you think?
Yeah, I feel good about our marriage.
Okay, and how do you feel about divorce?
I think divorce is sad for multiple reasons. For family aspects, for people, I do feel like people give in too easy, because it's an easier way out rather than working on something. And then it's also difficult for other family members, most likely of children, if there are children involved.
My mom raised me that she always said, never stay in a bad marriage, just get out. So she was...
That's always her answer.
So the first few years, it was hard because that's what, I had already been divorced one time. And so if we had hard times, and I would just say, well, we don't have to do this. But he saw it differently, so we were able to work through some things.
What do you feel are the effects of divorce on a family?
He went through that. I didn't go through it, but I did. My mom did divorce when I was a baby, so I don't remember anything. But then I met that family in 2011. But my biological father was already passed away at that point, and my mother was passed away. So I didn't really go through that part of it, but he did, and he says it was bad. So his mom said it was bad for him as a child. Do you remember?
Well, you just don't feel secure because you don't have unity. You don't have both parents together, so you have this parent's aspect, that parent's aspect, plus you don't have a united front, and then you have to be split up for this and split up for that. So from a child's point of view, it's hectic and
Stressful.
not a structured, secure environment.
That's the thing with whenever the girls, were growing up and we had functions because of some of the issues with the divorce. And most of the time, the divorced parents got along okay, but then his mom's last divorce, that was a little bit, it's still not real comfortable so it's not, we've gotten together with all of them, but it wasn't a good situation. So now we just decide, we choose not to be together to make everybody else feel more comfortable. So, but then some of the functions that the kids have, then everybody does still get together. So you can't help it. They have to do the best they can, and if they want to come and be a part, and that's what he told them. If you choose to participate, then you'll need to work that out. So.
How do each of you feel you resolve conflict within your marriage? Or how do you feel like you should resolve it?
Oh, well, I don't think we do a good job of resolving things sometimes. I'll just tell you that.
He yells sometimes and threatens. He gets angry, and I think he's had a lot of stress lately because his anger has been worse this past year. I think. He doesn't think so, but I think.
But they often wonder why I get angry, and it's because they repetitively do things I ask them not to do. I try to explain things, and when I explain these things or say these things, I may be calm or whatever, and recognize
Don't bring animals home.
stuff, and they continue to do those things, and then wonder why I have such a outlandish response, as she says, yelling or anger.
I understand.
But they want me to behave differently when they keep doing the same thing that I don't dislike, and they think I'm gonna like it.
I try to resolve things.
Or she does. I'm all, I'll leave the kids out since this is a marriage thing.
I try to resolve things by trying to just have discussion or talk about it, spending quality time, and sometimes that's hard because he just wants to me, ignore some issues or hope they'll get better on their own. I always think, we're gonna talk about this and it's gonna be better, but he doesn't like to talk about it all the time, so I don't know. Or if you talk about it, doesn't mean you're gonna fix anything, but I think it helps to try. Sometimes you don't really realize, I guess, the person's perspective until you do. So, and sometimes it's surprises. It can be surprising to hear the other person's side of it.
Is forgiveness the same as forgetfulness?
It should be.
It's not.
You're supposed to forget, but we do. We were
I
discussing
can
that.
forgive the behavior and move past it, but I don't mean I forget what happened.
Right.
And it doesn't still mean that you don't have emotions to go along with what happened, but you forgive that person, because if you don't, you're not able to move on.
Because we've been
So you're aware of their type behavior,
we're discussing
so
it
you
with the
can
kids.
accept. You can either learn how to deal with it, help them change it, or either you have to accept that behavior, not get angry again.
Yes. I believe that you are supposed to move forward. Not keep bringing it up, I guess. But sometimes, I can bring things up again. I guess we all can, but I know it's important not to. So, anyway, I don't think I'm bad about that. Maybe with the kids.
Okay, last question. How did having children affect your marriage?
So we had Shannon I had already had Shannon and been married before when we got married. So we were, and then we had Lauren shortly after. And so It was busy and hectic, and we did have a good bit of stress in our first few years that we had to work through.
I don't remember that being so. I think the kids was positive. I don't remember.
I
the
threw
kids
Lauren's
being-
baby bottle right by your head
I don't remember
one
that.
night, and then I left to ride around and came back
Why'd you do that?
because you had just made me very angry.
About what?
I don't remember.
I don't remember that.
Good. You forgot. He forgive and forgot. Forgave and forgot.
All right.